On this video, I'm going to cover everything that you need to know about this TV right here. This is the TCL Q651G. This TV has 4K upscaling, HDR Pro. It's a 60 Hz television with a 240 motion rate. It also has auto low latency for gamers out there, and it supports Dolby Atmos and DTS:X audio. This is a direct LED television that should help out with the contrast on it. And you can get this TV from a 43-inch all the way up to a 75-inch. And all these models are 8 bits with 2 bits of frame rate control. And you can also get this in a Fire TV version, which is available from a 55-inch up to a 75-inch if you prefer their operating system instead. But here's the thing, if you go to an 85 or 95-inch, those TVs are native 120 Hz, but they will support up to 144 gaming. And they might be 10-bit, but I couldn't confirm that for sure. Okay, let's stop playing around. Let's get this TV out of the box, see what it's all about, because I know you guys are interested. And keep in mind, this TV does have a lot of features like Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, as well as high brightness. Now, since it's a 43-inch, it comes with these little tiny feet, and they're gray in color. And it comes with a power cord, some screws for the feet, some setup guides, remote control, and it includes batteries. And here's a closer look at the remote control. I will say that it fits really nice in your hand. It doesn't have backlights, but it has all the features that you need, such as your input, profile, voice commands. Down here, you can navigate through all your applications very easy. And there's some hotkeys at the bottom, so you can go to your favorite applications just with the press of one button. I'm going to tell you guys, being back at a table like this kind of reminds me when I first started the channel. And now I have a more elaborate setup. You kind of go back to the basics. But yeah, let's go and get this TV all put together so we can go through the setup menu and see what it's all about. Now, looking at the bottom of it, there are some screw holes, and that's where we're going to put the feet on. And over here we have an audio system. I think it's 10 watts by 2. Over here there's a press button so you can change your inputs. Pretty basic stuff. By the looks of it, there's a little extra right here on the front of it, and there's an arrow to show you where to screw these in. That way you make sure you get it correct here. So make sure you don't put them on backwards. And just so you know, the back of these TVs can vary according to which size you have, as well as the configuration of the feet. So here's a closer look at the back of the television. At the top here, there's some ventilation, and it does have screw holes for your wall mount, but they're in a weird configuration on this side. You can see they're very narrow. Normally it's out a little bit farther. And it has this checkerboard pattern here at the bottom to let heat out as well. On the left hand side, you have your power cord input, and I like that it's detachable so you can extend it if you need to, especially if you mount it on the wall. This TV does have Wi-Fi built in, plus you do have some other connections such as USB 2.0, Ethernet connection, 3 HDMI 2.0s, and the third one is for eARC, TV tuner. You can have a AV input, but it will require an adapter, headphone jack, and you do have a fiber optic input. But keep this in mind, if you buy a 85 or 98 inch, it has 4 HDMI inputs. 2 of them are HDMI 2.0 and 2 of them are HDMI 2.1, and that's going to give you up to that 144 Hz gaming using variable refresh rate. And here's a side view look at this television. You see it's pretty flat on top, has a little bit of bubble right there. And as we go down to the bottom, it's pretty nice and has the feet are pretty equal on both sides. I don't have the other size televisions, but if you're interested in this 43-inch, I would tell you that the feet are around 27.5 apart, just in case you plan on putting it on a small table. Now, I did see this in my comments that a lot of people don't like these badges. On this one, you can just pull it off if you don't want to use it on your television, just so you know. So you can try it on your own TV, but there's a little bit of glue that you'll have to peel off once it's done. And here's the energy savings guide, $21 a year to run it. Satisfying. Next, I'm going to walk you through the setup, and keep in mind this video has chapters so you can skip around if you like. Let's go and get this TV set up so we can get to some of the details I want to show you on this video. Whoa, look at that. Google TV. So the first thing you'll do is choose your language. Next, you want to choose your region, and we'll just go ahead and choose United States. And this part right here is very important because if you're not going to hook it up to Wi-Fi and you just want to use it for your inputs and antenna, you want to make sure that you choose basic TV setup. On this video, I'm going to set it up as Google TV with the applications and everything. The easiest way to set this TV up is using the Google Home application, just like you would on a smart device. But a lot of people prefer me to use the remote control and show them that method, and that's exactly what we're going to do. The first thing you want to do is select your Wi-Fi, and then go ahead and enter your password. Then your TV will connect to Wi-Fi and it will check for the latest updates just to see if there's anything new on the server. In my case, it did find an update. We'll go ahead and get that all done and then we'll continue the video. And keep in mind, depends on your internet speed. This could take from 5 minutes up to a half an hour. Just be aware of that. And after TV reboots, it will resume where you last left it. Now you will need to enter your Gmail account as well as the password to continue. Now I recommend you read this, but you will be prompted for terms and conditions, but this is a demo account, so it really doesn't matter to me. To do the voice commands, you'll need to set up the Google Assistant. And if you want to search all your applications, you need to press allow or no thanks. I've already activated the voice match before, so I'll just go ahead and press on agree. And personal results is if you enable the GPS and everything, the TV will be able to give you results close to your home. Now, if you have any of these applications, you can check them off now, and when the TV gets ready, it will go ahead and install them for you, or you can do it at a later time. Now we need to pair the remote control, and if you don't do this, you will not enable the Bluetooth, so voice commands will not work. And there it is. And that's all you have to do is just hold those two buttons. Now TCL does have an application so you can do some basic controls on the television. All you need to do is scan that barcode, download the application, and create an account. But we're not going to be doing that on this video. There's also some TCL terms and conditions. Again, read through all this before you agree. And you can set up the TV to do automatic updates if you like. This TV does support Apple AirPlay and HomeKit, so you can do some basic features with your Apple devices using Siri. And if you want to see some cool demos, set it up as store mode and exit out later. But for now, we're done. For the last step, the TV will go in and look at all your options, and it will start setting up and downloading any applications that you clicked off. This could take a few minutes, so once it's done, we can then access the television. And the last step of this is that you can customize it a little bit farther if you like. For example, you can set up Google Photos, add multiple people, create offers, and you can set up the TV to be kid-friendly mode, but I recommend that you create a profile just for them. Now here's the interface. This is a standard Google operating system. Most TV has it. And I must say that the TV is pretty snappy. You do have some streaming channels through Google TV, and if you add your own TV tuner, you'll see all your channels here at the top of this list. Of course, you have all types of applications inside of here, including TCL TV Plus, which is streaming service. You also can play your media through thumb drives, and this TV can work with Alexa if you download the application right here. And here's a look at the TCL streaming applications that you can look at anytime you don't have any content to watch. Just click on here and you can just start playing your favorite shows. And with the voice commands, you can ask it questions. What's the weather like today?
Right now in San Diego, it's 59 degrees and clear.
And you can use this voice command to search just about anything that you like. Now I'm not going to go too far into this menu because we need to get to some testing, but let's take a look at some of the different options inside of here. Now people always ask me which input should I use on a 60 Hz TV. It doesn't matter. You can plug your gaming console in any of these and it's going to respond the same. Just don't use the eARC if you plan on adding a soundbar. Now this TV does have a lot of picture settings and adjustments, and if you don't want to customize it, you can just turn on intelligent picture, and it'll also do the same for audio as well. Now as far as software, this TV does use the latest and greatest Android 12, so you will have all those options. And this 43-inch model does have 24 gigabytes of internal memory. That might fluctuate depending on what size you have. There's also an ambient mode in here, and this is pretty much a screensaver, so when you're not using the TV, you can have these different screens to display, and if you connect it to Google Photo, you can go ahead and add your family pictures to it, but it is a little bit of process. Under power and energy, one thing I want to point out here, if you decide to add your own device, make sure you check off last used input, and that way it'll go right to it as soon as you turn on your TV. And if you want to get the brightest picture, make sure the energy savings turned off, but your TV will use more electricity. If you have an Android device, you can cast over to this TV, and this is where you can set up your Apple AirPlay and HomeKit. This is where you can log into the TCL account. And this TV does have Game Master, so you can set up automatic or you can manually choose these inputs. So for example, if you plug your gaming console on input 2, I would just go ahead and leave this on so it automatically detects it. As far as Bluetooth, you can connect your own headphones to it. And as you can see here, the remote control is already connected for that voice commands. Plus it does show you the battery life of the remote as well. For the most part, that's the operating system, but let's get into some demos so we can see how this TV performs. And just in case you missed it, go check out my video that I created on the TCL Q5 QLED with Fire TV. I wish there was an easier way to set up these TVs, but unfortunately, that's what it takes to get these TVs up and running. Now we're going to take a look at some content in SDR mode, but you can see that this TV does support HDR10 Plus, which Samsung uses, and it does support Dolby Vision, and we'll get to those in just a moment. Now as a reference point, I do have the TV in sports mode, and I will say that it looks really good. Now keep in mind, the smaller the TV that you purchase, the more pixel density available, and it's really hard to determine how good colors are because of the broadcast, but on this particular scene, it looks like the grass is more neon green, and I don't blame the TV, but sometimes the broadcast that we see is not that clear, so unfortunately, the TVs can't clean that up, but we'll check out some higher quality resolutions in just a moment. I still have the TV in SDR mode, and it actually looks good. Now, this is in the movie format, and I would say that everything is looking fantastic. Now I have the scene paused in SDR. Let's look at some of the different formats. So this is Vivid, and this is the brightest you can make the TV. We have low power mode, and I personally don't mind that particular setting. We have Smart HDR. We have sports mode, back to movie, which gives it that warm look. And this TV also has a game mode and a PC mode. But if you like that warm look, I think movie mode is going to look great for you. But in my opinion, I don't mind the low power mode just because I like the cooler look than the more natural look that you get in movie mode. Now we're going to see what kind of options we have available in HDR10. And notice there is a logo in the corner whenever you put it in these different formats. So far as I can see, you're going to get the same picture profiles, but there's Vivid in HDR10 mode. There's low power, sports, movies, game, PC, and back to Vivid. Now if we go back down to the movie mode, I think it looks really good. Only difference that you can see on some of these settings is if you look at the background, and one thing about the movie mode, you do lose a lot of that saturation, but the background looks a lot more cleaner in my opinion. Now for our last test, we're going to switch over to Dolby Vision and see what kind of options we have available in that format. And notice there is a Dolby Vision symbol that does pop up when you put it in this different format. Now in the Dolby Vision mode, it is definitely going to bring out a lot more details. You can see the background much better, and I like the fact that the colors look more realistic to me. So Dolby Vision does make a difference in these TVs. And right now it's on Dolby Vision Bright. We then have that Dolby Vision Night, so keep in mind, if you're watching TV in the daytime, use this format, and if you're watching at night, put it in dark mode. And then there's a gaming mode that again we'll check out a little bit later, and it's not ideal for watching TV, but again Dolby Vision is definitely going to make a difference in the picture quality if you look at some of the other formats that are available in this television. And now that I'm filming in HDR, you'll get a better chance to see how accurate this picture is, and I would say here live it looks really good. And another thing to know about this television is that it uses AI technology on the processor to clean up those images, and that's why it looks so good. Next, we're going to talk about the gaming on this television, and I would say the 43 through 75 are all 60 Hz panels, but they do have a technology called Gaming Accelerator. And what it's going to do is it's going to use the motion settings to help out with games to kind of achieve a 120 Hz experience, but again, it is a 60 Hz panel. Now, if you go with the 85 or the 98 inch, those have the same technology where they're native 120 Hertz. They can do up to 144 Hertz with variable refresh rate, but those also have a motion accelerator as well for gaming that can go all the way up to 240 Hertz. So the gaming on those will be much better. Now, when you're playing games on this television, you'll see this format. It will support auto low latency, variable refresh rate. It does have some exclusive picture modes in game mode, and there's a game bar that we'll check out in just a moment. So now we're going to check the input lag, and I have the TV in gaming mode. And keep in mind, this is only a 1080p tester that can support up to 60 frames per second. So with a 4K tester, it will be much faster. but it's getting a respectful 9.0, which is great for this television. So you can see TCL really has it set up for gaming. Now here's the Xbox, and we're going to take a look at the capabilities of this television. First of all, it does support 4K, but as you can see here, it doesn't support 1440p. Under TV details, it is a 60 Hz panel unless you go with the 85 or 98 inch. And as you can see here, it does support Dolby Vision gaming. And under video modes, you're going to get support for everything, and that's including variable refresh rate. And that's something that you don't get on the Q5. Just be aware that this TV is going to be better for gamers. Now, once you have this TV in game mode, you can go over here to the side and look at the game master. If you press and hold the 3 lines on the remote control, then you get this gaming option. At the top of it, you can see that it will show you the frames per second, HDR, auto low latency, and variable refresh rate. There's an aiming point that you can add to the TV here in the center, and there's different formats that you can put the TV in to give you the best gaming capabilities. There's a shadow enhancer that increases the black levels, and it has a menu. Then you get this pop-up called HDIG, and this gives you a picture quality as the developer intended. Now keep in mind, on the Xbox, you need to disable Dolby Vision in order to use it. So now we switched over to the PS5, and I found some different information in this console. So at 2160, which is 4K, this TV will support 48 Hz to 60 Hz. It also supports HDR, which we already know. Now, when I did a test for 1440p, this TV will support it. So on the Xbox, you would have to manually override the HDMI to be able to get 1440p. So it doesn't look like the Xbox will do this native, where this PS5 will. And of course, it will support 1080p up to 60 frames per second, as well as the HDR and everything. So in my opinion, that's very interesting that the Xbox didn't give you that option right away. So here's the game Tron. It's a little bit older game, but I like the colors on it. So everything seems to be nice and smooth. If you're a gamer, I think you're gonna love the experience on this television, but keep in mind the 43 up to 75 or 60 frames per second. But with that motion accelerator, I think everything was very smooth. I didn't see any smearing or tearing, so I think your experience will be great. But if you want to get the best experience, of course, get that 85 or 98 inch. Next, we're going to do some testing on this TV just to see how well it performs under a little bit. The first thing I want to show you is dirty screen effect. And keep in mind, this is not TCL's highest end television. It uses direct LEDs, and it doesn't have those local dimming zones. So in some areas, you will find some uniformity that's off a little bit. But overall, once you have a signal on the TV, it's not something that you would notice. Now, as far as upscaling, this is a 480p signal, and it looks pretty good. You will get some graininess around the logos and images. And I do notice there are some fringes around the edges, so if you have any type of older content, just be aware of that. And if you're just watching 720p like everyday basics, it definitely cleans up the signal. So I think most people will use content like this on a daily basis. But of course, 1080p will be your sweet spot, and that's where you're going to get the best picture out of this television. And 4K is the native signal, so you're going to get the very best picture possible. And just looking at this TV on these demos, I think this TV has some really good colors. Everything seems to be pretty accurate. Now, it doesn't have local dimming, so you might see a little bit of glow in the picture, but that's expected on a television at this price point. In my opinion, this TV would be perfect for a bedroom, but keep in mind, you do have the option to go all the way up to 98 inches if you're looking for a TV to put in your living room or family room. Now, as far as blooming, there is some slight glow around the edges, but in my opinion, I don't think it's anything you'll notice, and that comes along with having TVs that are a little bit more brighter. So this TV doesn't have like a high nits rating. It's usually in the range around 400. But for your everyday picture watching, just don't expect inky black levels unless you go with some of the more bigger sizes. But for me, this one looks just fine. Now, I didn't expect for the TV to have that greater uniformity just because you need those local dimming zones and a higher end panel, but I thought overall it looked pretty decent for what it is. Next, we're going to talk about audio. Now, keep in mind, this TV has features like Dolby Atmos, DTX, Virtual X, and I will say it's 15 watts by 2. Now, here's the thing. If you go to the 85 or the 98 inch, those TVs have a more robust audio system, and that's including subwoofers as well. but here's what it sounds like.
This is a Tech Steve audio test for the next few moments. Sit quietly and experience the range of this TV's audio capabilities as we test the boundaries of sound.
Now, in my opinion, this TV speakers have some good clarity to it, just not a lot of bass. And it has a lot of different modes such as dynamic, all the way down to voice enhancement. You also have some surround sound settings, some bass enhancers, dialogue enhancers. So there's plenty of settings in this television. And there's intelligent sound, so the TV will automatically adapt itself to the content that you're watching. So to be honest, if you're a casual TV watcher, I think the speakers built in are going to be great for news, watch any type of dialogue. But when it comes to the movies, I'm going to recommend you get one of the TCL soundbars with the back speakers and the subwoofer to get the best experience. Now, this TV has some great colors. I just want to show you the last few demos. And as you can see here, it's bright, it's vivid, and I think the black levels on it are pretty decent for not having local dimming zones. And if you're looking for a basic television that doesn't break the wallet, I think the Q6 series is a very well-balanced television, especially for the price point. But to be honest, if it was me, I would save a little bit more money and get the QM7 just because that television has mini LED, it's brighter, it has local dimming zones, and it will support up to 144 Hertz with VRR. But if you're really tight on money, I think this is a great television. Just keep in mind that it's not going to have the inkiest black level, it's not going to have the brightest screen, but it has some great features and it's perfectly fine for the average consumer. That's all I have on this video. If you have any questions, leave that in the comments below. I'm Tech Steve. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.